This time it is a Junkyard rescue as a crossover with Roadkill's Junkyard Gold and Steve Mignante.
Yeah, he pretty much burned us, didn't he?
It is a Galaxie far, far away.
Whole 34 miles.
About 34 miles. It's Phoenix, Arizona, nice and balmy today at Desert Valley Auto Parts because Junkyard Gold. You ever watch that show?
All the time, especially when I want to get smarter about cars.
Yeah, me too. When I am in a great old car junkyard, I am in my happy place. It is just like one of the greatest things on earth to me, which is why I love this Motor Trend show called Junkyard Gold. And there was a first season of it. It's a show with Steve Mignante walking around and basically looking at old cars and giving you factoids about them that you never knew before. And so, we're bringing it back. It's gonna be Roadkill's Junkyard Gold. I'm using him as my eyes and ears to find the greatest cars in America in junkyards that Finnegan and I can then go nab and make run and drive.
All of our greatest work happens in junkyards.
And it's about to, so we're gonna go see what Steve's got for us. I've seen it. I think you have, but...
My memory sucks. I haven't seen anything.
Okay, you're gonna like it.
All right.
I promise. Magneto.
Hey guys,
Yo.
you saw the pictures. You want to see the car?
Yeah.
All right, follow me. It's this way. It's red. It's a big block. It's a 4-speed.
4-speed sells it.
Yeah, you know, I'm with you. You know, the automatics can be so problematic and freeze up and all that kind of stuff. And here it is.
Oh. If this car was like a 6-cylinder, a small block, no way.
I'm with you.
Yeah, but the 390 and the stick, 100%.
Does it look about the same as it did in the pictures?
Oh, it's a lovely
you know,
shade of neglect. I love it. This is great.
You know, photos add 100 points of goodness. It's not that good.
Well, look inside. The money on this thing to me is right inside, the 4 on the floor.
Okay, this is sweet.
Yeah, back in 1964, somebody brought this car home and showed his buddies the 4 on the floor in his new big block Ford Galaxie.
Yeah.
That was a big deal when this car was new.
Look at that console.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. You guys will make it. You guys will hit the road in this thing.
Does it have power steering and stuff?
Take a peek. There's no air conditioning, no problem. Simplicity, I'm going to guess, is the...
It was a big attraction. The fewer accessories, the easier the junkyard rescue. Oh, it's got the single pot master cylinder with a booster.
Yeah.
Okay, explain to such ignoramuses as myself, Mike, and the audience why it says Thunderbird on the valve covers.
Well, Ford, the Thunderbird from 55 on up was Ford's halo car, and they often referred to their larger engines as the Thunderbird V8, even though it wasn't in a Thunderbird car. And this does have something kind of cool. The chrome on those valve covers is not factory issue. This is the Z-code 300 horse 390, which I think would have had just a blue or a black engine. The chrome is probably 406 valve covers that some enthusiasts added. Well, the Ford is out of my hands. Mike and Dave have taken possession of this car. And I think if they attend to the details of this car, bleed the brakes, make sure the wheel bearings are packed, I would even prime the engine with an electric drill motor, get the distributor out, run that pump backwards, you know, pump the motor full of oil. If they do that kind of stuff, I think they have a good shot of getting this thing on the road and out of here. But it's not in my hands anymore. I'm going to keep looking for more cars in more junkyards.
I like what Steve brought us. It's got a 4-speed, which is good. It's got a big block, which is also good. I have no idea how long it's been sitting here, which means I'm entirely optimistic that Freiberger and I, ignoring all the basic rules of mechanics, will probably be on the road.
The key is that it's fairly complete. Everything is here, we're not looking for something. The other thing is, it being a manual transmission just makes our odds better because it means that the automatic isn't going to have a bunch of dried seals that are going to create problems. And it's an older car, it's very simple. Hopefully we can actually get the thing running. My plan is always, make sure the engine runs first before you touch anything else, right?
Minimal effort. Dude, there are so many turds on this.
A lot of turds.
Look at it.
They're big too. They're not raccoon, they're large rodent.
Yeah, that's like chupacabra poop right there or something, dude.
Okay, it's fixed. Fire it up.
You restored it.
I feel I'm here to disappoint Mignante because he had expectations of like us removing the distributor and pre-lubing this thing and doing everything the right way. It's a good thing he's gone because we're about to just crank this engine that's been sitting for who knows how long. I had to clean up all the cable connections here, but I think it's gonna crank.
Promising.
Wow.
No clunking.
Okay, so you want to try key?
Yeah.
Try it. Maybe the ignition works. There we go.
No way.
No spark. That's cool that the key works.
Yeah.
It seemed like I didn't have any spark because I put flammable brake fluid down the carburetor and it didn't go. So now I'm gonna see if it does. Okay, crank.
Okay.
Yes, it has spark.
We have spark. Probably just cold.
Woo! So it's got something.
Maybe it's not quality spark.
It is not quality spark. It's not a nice big orange spark. It's a little tiny orange spark. So by hot wiring it, we're gonna attempt to make that a little bit better. And the other thing we have not looked at all is if it's getting any airflow through the carburetor. I mean, who knows? There could be turds, dead rat. I was trying to start it on the brake clean, which you've seen me do a million times. But the thing is, they sell different brake clean formulas in different areas for emissions reasons and stuff. Check it out, non-flammable. So therefore, we're gonna go to the cleaner carb and fire it up on something that will actually explode. Oh, that was fire. It's gonna happen.
Wants to run.
It really wanted to.
If we have a gas can and
We
some
need-
fuel line.
Actual gas, it's gonna work. Okay, that should be a good fire. It wanted to. There we go. Go, go, go.
Dude, it wants to idle too.
It does. No way.
I think we have at least 6.5 cylinders there.
Wow, this thing runs good.
It's alive.
We're gonna be good.
How long has this been parked?
Like 40 years, something like that. That's awesome. The 390 started way easier than expected and actually runs pretty smooth and didn't make any hideous noises or anything. Our first major problem is that water pump is locked solid. Look at this. Rusted up hard. So we're gonna have to pull it out. Lots of poop, lots of nestings, and one dead water pump.
This is likely going to be the donor vehicle for everything we need. It's another Ford Galaxie 500. It has the right engine with a water pump. It has door strikers because we're missing those. We'd like our doors to stay shut. This is the benefit of coming to a scrapyard when you're trying to rescue a hot rod.
That one's locked up also. Okay. That water pump is junk.
All right, moving on.
Moving on.
Well, we're a little stuck for a water pump right now. Our donor car, its water pump was froze up. One of the guys in the yard brought us this one, which is not froze up, which is awesome, but it is different than this. And so, because of this little protrusion, that's not gonna work, but he's bringing one right now. Come here.
Check it out. Desert Valley Auto Parts had a brand new one rebuilt in stock.
Man, this is a damn good day. We have new radiator hoses, a rebuilt water pump. Radiator seems to be in okay shape. Okay, now we need a radiator. Look at that. There's a hole right in the middle of it. That's right about where Freiberger was working with the ratchet that he got stuck in there. Pretty sure Freiberger is the reason we're not driving this car.
I ruined the old radiator as I was trying to fix it. So Finnegan went on the hunt, which is some kind of 64-ish Thunderbird radiator that appears to work perfectly with the exception of the upper nipple, which is too small.
You don't hear that a lot. Nipple's too small. Well, because it works so well on the He Hate Me Econoline, we are once again sleeving a radiator outlet that is way too small for a hose that is just the right size. And this time, pink duct tape. This is a big moment right here. Does the stock mechanical fuel pump actually pump fuel? We're questioning it because the fuel line to the carburetor was just cut in half.
What we're gonna do now is hook up the inlet side of the mechanical fuel pump just to our bucket, see if we can get it to drink gas.
Yeah, we got fuel.
That works. Great.
All right.
And it got some dirty fuel out of the pump. At this point, next time we start it, if the carburetor works, we'll be able to keep it running.
It's alive. Oh, turd dust everywhere.
That's incredible.
That carburetor's not a fountain right now. We don't have just gas pouring out of every orifice. That fuel pump seems to work just fine. I say we check the brakes, check the gears, hit the road. Let me put the gas can in the...
Yeah,
It's like it was built for it.
for sure.
This is definitely safe. This is going directly next to the voltage regulator for the ignition.
This is gonna be the moment. We're gonna fire it up and see if it'll go in gear, if the clutch works. Putting it in gear. Up, clutch won't disconnect. We're screwed.
We need a clutch? Maybe it's just the linkage.
No, because it goes in gear if it's off. See? Not when it's running. Okay, now it might move. Hold on. Yeah, clutch doesn't disconnect. Guys at Desert Valley Auto Parts have like a shade over there and a concrete pad, so they're gonna let us use it to jack the car up and put it on stands, figure out what's going on. More bad news. We have to push it over there. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, it rolls
Tire in the tires.
fairly good. Okay, back is good. Thank you.
Okay, clutch in.
The clutch has like 2 inches of free play.
It's starting to move. I think the thing is just stuck together.
Mike called underneath and looked at the clutch while I stepped on it a bunch of times. It looks like it might be separating. So right now we're gonna test it by firing it up and trying again to get it in gear while the engine is running. It's moving now, isn't it?
Yeah. The brakes must be stuck.
So we're gonna try to use rust penetrant on the clutch and hope that it recovers. Holding, not doing anything?
Wow, it's like the desert's coming out of this clutch right now.
Well, maybe that's it. Maybe it just needs a hose up in there.
Go ahead again.
Now the clutch is returning.
Yeah, I think it just needs to be flushed. It's moving pretty well now.
Yeah, and the pedal's coming up every time. I'm gonna see if that helped anything. Ooh, it goes into gear now. Easy.
Yeah, I think the brakes are just holding it.
Man, this thing runs good. Listen to that. It's like a speedboat. Blub, 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 blub.
I think we just revisit our radiator and fan clearance and take the wheels off and look at the brakes.
I'm declaring all win up to this point. The engine runs amazingly well. I can't believe that Autolite carburetor is actually doing as well as it is. But from sitting here, that clutch is just packed in dirt and rust, but it seems to be self-healing. The brake pedal won't move at all, and who knows what other disasters we're gonna find, but we will leave that for mañana.
Oh, dude, you fixed it.
Get out.
No. Keep going now. This is fun for me.
I really wanted to believe. Man, we are so close and yet so far. And the far is that master cylinder right there. When these things sit forever, usually that little piston just sticks in the bore in there and the pedal won't move at all. So first thing I'm gonna do is remove that deal and bleed the brakes and get out of here. Yesterday when we were working out in the field, there was this old two-door Falcon wagon that was super cool, and it had this ancient, like burned out bumper sticker on the back that said, "The Stakeout." And it turns out it's like this cool old restaurant that's been there since 1951. So, we'll go there. Let's find out if we can even get this thing on the road though. He's gonna try the pedal now and see. Yep, that's fine. Oh. Packed in dirt.
So our brakes don't look bad at all. In fact, I think we're just gonna clean things up and put new wheel bearings, which we'll pack now with fresh grease, put this all back together, throw it in the car, and then drive to stake.
Uninterrupted.
It's gonna be all smooth.
It took a couple hours to get it delivered, but we have a brand new, completely archaic single pot master cylinder at the go. I'm about ready to bench bleed this thing, and I'm gonna make bubbles by cycling it. There we go. Okay, install it.
Aha!
We're going to bleed. He's got one of the bleeders open, and the pedal basically still won't even move.
I could feel something happening in there. I was like, this is weird. And then when you let off, I can spin the drum, but when you step on it, I can't spin the drum. This may not be jacked up. This may be functioning.
It's almost as if the brakes are already bled and we haven't even started yet, which is what's really weird. Ready?
I just stopped it. It's moving. It's stopping. We have brakes, dude. This is weird.
It just works.
This is so weird.
Let's go test drive this thing.
The crazy part is it had that much brake fluid in the master cylinder. You know, just enough where
It stayed bled.
stayed bled.
Yeah, and we bench bled it,
Yeah.
and then all there was that little bubble right at the end of the hose.
We're so good at this.
Really good. This is the fabulous Freiberger fuel system. See, we're gonna run the stock tank that's in this thing, and we have no idea what's in there. It's probably full of dirt and crud and all sorts of stuff. And so I run multiple filters. So we'll drive down the road and this one will clog, and then we just remove it. Then we keep driving until this one clogs, and then we just remove it. This works way better with clear versions of these filters, but this is a way to get on the road from the junkyard with minimal effort.
Got to fill this 5 gallons in there and then go get another 5 gallons and put in there, and hopefully that dilutes it enough where it just doesn't clog every fuel filter we put between here and the carburetor. We'll drive today. We'll get somewhere.
We're one step closer. I ransacked the junkyard and came up with whoosh. Do you call them dish mags or do you call them slot mags? Whatever you call them, they're retro cool. These are 14x7s. We got some 225 70 14s on these babies, and we're good to go. Ooh, this thing's gonna ride sweet. Come on, start. There we go.
Yo, it's moving! Do the brakes work? Yes!
There we go.
There we go.
We are driving.
Look at us!
This is totally official right now. Runs great. Well, here's the good news, the clutch doesn't slip. Yet. Ooh, the power steering works. We didn't even check the fluid, the power steering works.
This car wants to leave here.
Carburetor's warming up a little bit. I got clutch.
There we go.
Yeah.
Little scratch. Little scratch.
I am so happy the clutch broke loose. Now we can have bang shifting. But the brakes remain really bad, although if I step on them a few times, they're gonna get better. Are you ready for brakes?
Sure.
Here we go.
Got no seatbelt.
Oh, see, they improved. It stopped straight that time.
It's like that Cadillac. The best part about this car is the gauges don't work, so we really will never know whether we should pull over.
Gauges are the roadkill bearers of bad news. You cannot believe how great the steering is on this thing. It's got 1-finger power steering, perfect turn-in, alignment is flawless.
She's a gem.
It is martini time.
Let's go celebrate.
Oh, yeah. This thing is healing. I'm telling you, every lap it heals. That was a successful test drive. Thank you.
Look at what we just did. I don't care how long that car has or hasn't sat, it was messed up. Dirt everywhere. And we got most of that dirt out and then just trucked it all around this place.
The car is healing itself. As soon as we got it out driving around in the junkyard, all of a sudden the clutch freed up. The first time I stood on the brakes real bad, it like pulled to the right. It felt like only one tire was locking up. But the more times I hit them, the more they all sort of worked in. The car just wants to come to life. But it's gonna strike on the road because tomorrow morning, all we gotta do is like tune that carburetor a little bit. It's kind of too much junk for me. And we sprung a big old leak in the heater core. Gonna have to fix that, no big deal. But after that, we are in the wind. Morning. Today's the day. We will soon be in a galaxy far, far away. But first, there's some wrenching to do. Mike is working right now on getting the door jamb strikers, which we don't have for our Galaxie, and they're also fighting us trying to scavenge some from the junkyard. One down, one to go. All right, installing. Ah! How is it?
Oh, it's perfect, like top to bottom. Totally straight, trim lines up. Car's practically restored here. We're gonna make this thing run a little better. If you've got a flammable liquid, such as this CRC cleaner carb, you can spray this around the intake manifold, hoses and fittings, and if there's a vacuum leak anywhere, it'll suck this in and you'll hear the engine accelerate in RPM. If we don't find that, we get out our screwdriver, adjust the idle mixture screws, adjust the idle speed screw, get it at least to idle at a stoplight. From there, hit the road. Okay, try it again. Think the base gasket's leaking.
Tighten it up.
Yeah. So the flammable liquid test totally works. Engine wouldn't idle. Every time I sprayed the back corner of the carburetor, it would stay running. And eventually we realized there was a vacuum hose connected to the intake manifold with a bolt in the end of it. So that was allowing air into the engine, which of course means we had too much air, not enough fuel, and it wouldn't idle. So this should run now. Go for it, Dave.
Ah, yeah.
Ta-da! And now we can tune, now that we don't have a vacuum leak.
Race car. Closing the hood for the last time, for the first time. We are ready.
We can't be stopped. Let's go. It actually sounds pretty good.
First gear.
I dig this console too, even if it is covered in
console's
mud.
great. Wait. How'd I do?
It's very smooth, sir. Bye bye, Desert Valley Auto Parts.
So first gear has been a thing so far.
Shall we go for two?
Ready?
Do it. Yeah. Can we get all the way to the stakeout without making the acronym fix or repair daily or found on road dead a thing?
Found on Roadkill. I'm starting to hear a little lifter tick or something.
When we first got it fired, it had it, but it went away. But yeah, now it's back.
Oh, how's your carbon monoxide?
It's something.
Yeah. All right, brake check. Okay, a lot of effort, but
Present. Not bad.
Not bad. Okay.
Oh boy, here we go.
We're on a real road.
Two.
Oh, dude. Yes. Third.
Sounds great. Smells horrible.
Oh my God.
Dude. I don't know what's worse, the exhaust or the poop dust.
I'm thinking exhaust. Oh, I can taste the turd.
The initial test drive was a monumental success, if by success you mean inhaling poop, exhaust fumes, dust, and driving 3 blocks to a gas station. We've got a giant hole in our trunk floor right here, which I'm about to patch with the cardboard box we got from the parts store for a brake hose, and yes, once again, the pink duct tape.
Wow. The airflow was good. It just sent a bunch of dirt. Oh, dude. Well, we were on the freeway for a while and then came to a stop and it died and doesn't want to start again.
There was a lot of smoke.
So we're cruising down the road and this thing is bellowing smoke out the back. The brakes are absolute garbage. And then a problem develops. We actually are about to blow the lower radiator hose off the thing, and that's something we can't live with. Turns out the clamp is dangling freely on the hose, so that is the problem. We've had remarkable luck lately with head gasket in a can, so we're now going with the piston rings in a can. This will do absolutely nothing, but it will restore compression, restore horsepower, restore engine life, and reduce oil consumption. Yeah. Okay, valve stem seals are replaced.
Nice work.
On the road again.
The mechanic in the can said it might take up to 2 days to work.
Ah,
We got time for that.
it's a lot of smoke.
Yeah. You want the news now or you want the news like at the parts store?
What?
I bought the wrong can of stuff. It needed a head gasket fix, not engine restore.
Why does it need head gasket fix?
Because when I filled the radiator up the rest of the way, oil came out of the radiator.
It was probably in that radiator when we got it.
I don't know.
Well, we could get that head gasket sauce.
Yeah, we can certainly try that.
Apparently we're gonna have to pour in some super sauce to keep oil out of the radiator. Oh, wow.
Yeah, see?
That's black. You know what that is? That's exhaust.
Well, earlier when I dipped my finger in it, it was oil.
That's bad. Okay.
This will fix it though.
I trust that stuff now.
You really can't ever get roadkill when you have this in your toolbox. I have to use all my superpowers. All right, K-Seal. Work your magic. Let's ride. A lot of smoke in here. I feel like Chong.
You look more like Cheech.
Here's the better looking one.
I don't know if you've noticed, but this thing smokes like a forest fire. Here's our problem. The cab's filling with smoke because the exhaust pipes are cut off right here, and there's holes in the floor right here that are therefore filling the interior with smoke. So I'm gonna use this stuff, clamp it on here, and then stretch it out and puke all that smoke out the back. I think the last time we put a carbon monoxide sensor in a car was in the He Hate Me, and it never went off. But this time, it could actually be a thing.
Testing.
Okay.
Carbon monoxide level 0 ppm.
All right, let me see if it smokes out the proper orifice. Oh yeah. I can still smell it in here though. Wow, is it bad? Not sure I've ever driven anything that smokes this bad. That's coming inside still. Yep. Blowing right in here.
It's on my side.
We're gonna have to stop again. We cannot sit in traffic. The whole inside of the car just fills with smoke. It's coming from the trunk, look. I think we're done.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Oh,
I really like this car.
you do?
I do. It's got racing stripes, James Bond smokescreen built in.
I think it's a theoretically cool car. The 4-speed makes it great. The smoke screen makes it absolutely undrivable. We have to actually do something about it, which I did not anticipate on this trip.
For me, it's no longer about like get to the steakhouse. It's how do we make this right?
Tomorrow, we're actually gonna figure out how to either put a motor in it or fix this one.
Yeah.
One way or another.
All right, tomorrow's a new day. I'll start finding engine parts.
Happy noontime. We spent all morning on the phone, networking on Instagram, Facebook, trying to find out what we're gonna do. We really badly wanted to just rebuild this engine that's in the thing.
Yeah, it turns out you can't find bearings or rings or hardly any gaskets in this town for an FE motor.
They just don't exist.
But, power of the internet, we found a replacement motor. Rebuilt, sitting in plastic in a teacher's garage, not more than an hour and a half from here. It's gonna be here soon.
I don't know how complete this engine is that we're getting. I don't know if it has valve covers, front tin.
I know it's got a timing cover, it's got a truck oil pan, it's got an intake on it, but no carb. and we have to swap intakes because it's a 2-barrel intake.
Ah, okay. So we're gonna have to reuse carb, distributor, expansion tank, manifolds. Wow, this thing's light.
No squirrels. Look what we found thanks to the internet. Our friend Tony dropped off this engine. Might be a 360 or a 390, don't know, don't care. After we negotiated the $1,200 purchase price, and not until it arrived here did we find out this was built by high school auto shop students.
So therefore it's way better than anything we could have done.
I don't know, dude. They can't paint either.
They
Look at
cannot
this.
paint. Do you notice that it's got mercury valve covers though? How cool is that?
Oh, that is pretty stylish.
Yeah. Unload. There we go. All right, we can get it out now. This is of course taking way longer than expected. We finally got the other engine out of the car. Now it's just a matter of like swapping all the parts over. We got a lot of stuff to do. We're gonna put the whole front dress on here, the oil pan, clutch, flywheel, pilot bushing.
Well, we're not the kind of guys that just throw new parts at an old car when something goes wrong and don't ask why. Actually, we are those people. While loading it into the bed of his truck, Tony decided to take the valve cover off, something we haven't done this entire 15-mile trip we've taken, and he spotted the intake push rod on, I think that's number 1. Decided to vacate the premises. For reference, that's what it should look like. That would be our smoke and our rough running. But hey, maybe now the car will do burnouts now that it has a freshly rebuilt motor done by high school auto shop students.
Looks great.
It's surfaced. Put it
Yeah.
on there.
Uh-huh. Perfection. Oh, this thing is stupid.
Why is it gotta be made out of cast iron?
And
Ah!
that's turd.
This car's gonna be turd free.
Same news as last time, except for darker. We're still just bolting junk on. Actually, right now, I think we're gonna pull spark plugs out of it and roll it around and find top dead center and throw the distributor in. We're as ready as we're ever gonna be. We're gonna install this FE, it's gonna plop right into place. It's not gonna fight us with the Z-bar at all.
Or the input shaft, or the motor mount.
None of that. That is a major moment of victory. We got the engine closed up to the transmission, clutch is all installed, done with the hoist. It is like 10 o'clock at night and we're behind schedule, so we're gonna call it for the night. Tomorrow morning we got to bolt on carburetor, starter, exhaust, you know, radiator cooling, stuff like that. And then, once again, we'll be in the wind. I can't even believe this carburetor works as well as it does. Finnegan's underneath handling the starter and the exhaust and the clutch Z-bar and all that annoying stuff, and I'm doing fun things like carburetor, fuel system, spark plug wires. We have everything done except for the exhaust system back there and this, the major showstopper. The activation rod off of the pedal won't hook up to the clutch fork because it's about that much too long, because the fingers on this diaphragm type clutch stick out much more than they did on the long style clutch. I'm not gonna have an adjustment. I think we're gonna end up having to cut this rod and shorten it, which is uncool. Okay, step again. Now I'm gonna take the rod out. Step on it to the floor. Yeah, it moves way more. The frame end of the Z-bar is not attached anymore, which is the problem.
It's missing a bushing on the Z-bar that goes into the frame rail and it kind of holds everything up higher. So right now when you push the clutch, the rod is actually running across the top of the steering box and hanging there, and also hitting the inner fender well.
Clutch link is supposed to be there, and it's resting there. That is our problem. We're all about the setbacks here on Roadkill, and the clutch linkage is one of them. We're still gonna be battling that one. It's a big problem. But while I was fiddling with that, Mike put water in the radiator and it all fell out of the back of the water pump and hit the ground. And so we found out that the bolt holes that hold the water pump on are not blind, and we didn't seal them, and they were puking real bad, and so was the thermostat housing. So we're resealing all of that.
Okay.
It's looking like the radiator leak is fixed. Now I'm back on the clutch, which is super ungood. We gotta take this Z-bar out.
No.
So the Z-bar goes onto balls on each end of it to pivot, and unfortunately, we only have one ball. The ball looks like this. This is the one that goes on the engine side, and we had that bolted up, but it wasn't attached on the other side of the frame, so it was just all wonky. Now we're fixing it. We're unwonkifying it.
I remember earlier when we thought, because our clutch height was different, that our push rod was too long and we cut about that much off of it. So now that we've fixed the mounting issue, now the rod is way too short. There's the real lesson here, kids. Don't get angry and throw things away.
You'll need them later.
Yeah, sooner or later, you're gonna need a muffler shop to weld that back together for you.
Roadkill comedy of errors. So first, we cut the clutch activation rod way too short because the Z-bar was all out of whack. And then Mike ran down the street to a muffler shop, actually from a fan who stopped by here earlier today. He welded it here because I neglected to tell him I needed it here. So now we're gonna bend it, make it work.
Wait a minute, earlier you said we cut the rod, but now it's Mike welded it wrong.
Give it a shot.
We'll try again.
Okay, stepping on clutch linkage, trying it.
Ready?
Yep. And let go. Ba-boom. Set. Done.
I think that works.
Ready to try and start it? Neutral. Click it a couple more times, see if it'll even catch. There you go. Is the battery dead?
I don't know. Shouldn't be.
Ugh, I cannot turn it. That explains something.
We were rolling it over before though.
Not once it was bolted down to the transmission.
So what, input shaft is crammed into the back of it?
Uh-huh.
Crank has a different offset? Back of the cranks looked identical.
Locked up solid.
That's weird, dude.
We're trying to start this thing and the engine's locked up, won't turn over at all. Which means we've got something wrong with the transmission or clutch or whatever.
On like the third or fourth click, it moved and then stopped. Like something stopped it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Nope. Strange. The first couple times he hit it, it didn't move. And then all of a sudden it broke loose and went. Still confused. I'm gonna pull off a valve cover and see if we're getting any oil pressure.
I hope they put all the plugs in. We never had the timing cover off and I never looked at the back of the block. Going again. That is not normal.
Our high school auto shop motor has no oil pressure.
I can see not all of them having oil, but none of them having oil is not normal.
Not one. For the record, I do not feel good about this at all. What's going on right now is we've got our new engine in and everything, and we've cranked it and cranked it and cranked it, and we don't have any oil up to the top end, so we're worried that it's got no oil pressure. We're also worried we've already cranked it so much that it's probably hurt some parts because it was assembled with white grease, which is just not the right thing to do. So we're gonna continue with the badness, and we're gonna start it with the valve covers off, hoping that it'll have enough RPM to actually pick up oil and get some oil up to the top end. Now, if we fire it up and do this and oil doesn't ever appear, that means that we've run the thing brand new with no oil pressure in it whatsoever, and almost certainly we will hurt something, probably flatten the camshaft. Can you crank some timing into it?
Okay, there we go.
That runs terrible.
I made fire out of the carburetor. Still dry.
I think it's junk.
I got a bad feeling.
The valves are barely opening. It's got no oil pressure. We've probably already wiped the thing.
We are not getting steak dinner at the stakeout tonight.
We can walk to the Sizzler. Is there oil in the tops of the lifters on this side?
No.
Anything?
Nope.
It runs terrible. It seems to me like it needs more advance.
I'll put more in it. Nope.
It's dead.
The smoke would indicate it's unhappy.
Yeah. We just killed that motor too. It's got no oil pressure. It's got to be the distributor's not engaging the drive shaft. But by this point, we've wiped all the bearings and
Yeah.
of course, I mean, these valve springs have no pressure. Who knows? The thing could run 100,000 miles if we could make it have oil pressure, but we can't without taking it out of the car and taking it apart and seeing what's wrong.
Next time on Roadkill.
Steve Magnante did this to us. Actually, I really can't blame him. The 64 Galaxie was a pretty good pick with the big block and the 4-speed and all that stuff. But I had to really cast my mind back on the history of junkyard rescues with Roadkill. I'm looking back at Pigpen, that 51 GMC that we took out of Turner's in Fresno. And honestly, that thing only made it 15 or 20 miles down the road. Maybe not even that, before a pinched off exhaust stopped us and killed the motor in that thing. And then there was the Disgusting at Colorado Auto and Parts. That thing ran great the day that we rescued it and did some donuts around in the junkyard. But then, months later, when Finn and I tried to drive the thing and did some more donuts, we found out that it had no oil pressure because there was leaves packed in the oil pickup, and we killed that engine. And so now we're 3 for 3 with the 64 Galaxie. The 390 was actually pretty good going out the front door of this thing, but man, it started smoking pretty fast. And as it turned out, it bent a push rod, probably because it had a sticky valve guide, and it started running on 7, and we decided to fix it because the whole point of Junkyard Rescue is a rescue, right? We ultimately picked the wrong motor and didn't really do due diligence with it on making it run and drive like you would do if you were in your own driveway, and we end up killing it too with no oil pressure whatsoever. But the thing is, anytime you can get an old car on 4 wheels, running, driving out the front door of a junkyard and into your garage and ready for some rescuing, that is a win. And this thing will be in the long run, because I think Mike and I are both sort of disappointed by the failure here and dedicated to the fact that the car has to live again. So someday on another Roadkill, we'll get this thing going. What we'll do with it, I'm just not sure yet, but it'll probably involve steak.
The very last thing you should do before embarking on any vehicle you get out of a junkyard, vacuum out the turds. That's just, oh man, I can feel it going through there. Ah! No, chupacabra, no. Don't come back to life.